Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the program. Thank you very much, as usual, for making time. We do appreciate you for joining us yet again. Nigeria is going through the motions again as a nation as we continue this journey towards nationhood, facing a lot of challenges. At this point, some have said that we're at the cliff edge, looking at some of the agitations emanating from different parts of the country. On one hand, you have certain agitations. There's clamoring for restructuring, there's clamoring for true federalism, there's clamoring for better governance of the Nigerian state. And also you have some of the existential crisis that is stemming from insecurity from the northwest and southern part of Nigeria. Everywhere is pretty much on the edge right now as far as Nigeria is concerned. How much of this is about the governor's style of the APC-led administration by President Muhammadu Buhari, and how much of it is an indication that Nigeria has to find a way to accommodate the yearnings, aspirations, as well as agitations of all of these individuals and groups who want something different from what Nigeria currently has to offer. From the positions of the governors from different regions about what is expected, how much of this is about the 2023 general elections and how much of it can really be put into actionable plans that could bring better service delivery for Nigeria and indeed Nigerians. Well, my name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We're here broadcasting live from our studio in Bajabure Hills. Of course, as always, this is On the Spot. Welcome to the program once again. There is a lot to unpack. There is a lot to unpick as far as Nigeria is concerned because at this moment, we're a melting pot of a lot of issues, socio-economic, socio-political, cultural, security-wise. And of course, this has left so many Nigerians feeling disenchanted, dissatisfied with what has been offered them for the shortest or longest possible time, especially if you look at security and how the situation is pretty much getting from bad to worse, depending, of course, your point of view. So let's try to make sense of some of these developments and understand the best way to comprehend what is happening and how a possible solution could emerge from this very divergent views that have been aired over a long period of time. Joining me this afternoon, we have the pleasure of welcoming Fabiyi Olademeji. He's the Director General, Amalgamated Atiku Support Group. He is a seasoned economist and, of course, a Nigerian who is pretty much concerned about what is happening right now. We'll get to some of his political views about what is going on. But as always, pleased to see you again, Fabiyi. Thank you very much for making it.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here once again.
Right.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Yes.
First things first, as a Nigerian, I'd love to get your take on the state of affairs, where we are right now as a nation.
Well, thank you. I'm only going to put it in one word. It's saddening. Simply because this really wasn't what Nigerians bargained for. You know, we've had successive government in this country, and they've come and gone. They've done their best. When they leave, we always see their imprint. Some of the things they do. I can tell you, from this republic, 1999 2007, we knew what the government of Obasanjo Atiku did, and then today, a lot of Nigerians during their time. Nigerians were very happy, and in the sense, I say this because it was in their time that employment issue was at the lowest level at that time. And I'm saying this, I'm taking a cue, of this from what they did with the sector, the communication sector. Today, a lot of Nigerians are self-employed through that alone. A lot of we didn't have, yes, we had security issues, but it wasn't as bad as this. There were timely responses to issues, the Niger Delta issue, you remember. Yeah. So, and Following that, we had Yaradua, who actually came. Unfortunately, we lost him. But the little time he spent, he was able to, to make huge achievement in terms of securing the country. He came up with amnesty program that doused the tension in Niger Delta. And then some of these crises we have in the northern part of Nigeria then were not really pronounced. But what do we have today? Is a total departure from what we have. And even Jonathan came and tried his best. So what we had today is a total departure from what we used to have then. Every day now, Nigerians are so helpless. Everybody is giving up because when you have a situation where the citizens are now expecting death to come at any time, they don't know when death may likely, but they are thinking that they are already preparing for it. And that's what we see happening around the country. It's so sad. It's so unfortunate that this really wasn't what Nigeria bargained for. This government came on board and promised heaven and earth, but they've been able to do little. They promised security. They came in and campaigned heavily that, Nigeria is, the challenge in Nigeria is, the major challenge of Nigeria is security. And they gave us somebody we believed, at least, there's something they call distinction in marking grades. That when you make A, that means you're a very good person. So there was this impression that the current president is an A student when it comes to security issue. But now we've found out that that's not to be. They made us believe he's an A student when it comes to fighting corruption. Today is not to be. They promised us jobs, employment. Rather, we're losing more jobs. So it's so sad. And the most painful part of it is the wanton killings of Nigeria on daily basis. So as far as I know, it's sad, it's barbaric, and it's a total show of display of lack of capacity on behalf of those who are managing the affairs of this country.
Right. So for some people, that is the most critical analysis, even though it speaks to the reality that we're faced with today. When you take a look at the agitations from the south, especially from the southeast and from the southwest, when you consider the IPOP case, when you take a look at Sunday Igboho's position on what is going on, it speaks to a great dissatisfaction with the status quo and where perhaps Nigeria is heading towards. What is your political interpretation of some of these agitations and what it could mean for Nigeria as a nation?
Sincerely, it's a total failure of leadership, because if you have a leadership that can respond to the yearnings and the feelings and the expectation of the people, perhaps you may not have, you have pockets, but it won't be this pronounced. It's a total failure of leadership. This, like I told you, this government came on board, came in, and then in 2015, almost 70% of Nigerians voted for them. There were expectations. But unfortunately, those expectations are dashed as we speak. So what do you expect? So if the economy is working, if there is security, if there is an employment, look at the numbers of people in IPOP, for instance. They are between the ages of 18 and 35. These are people that should have been gainfully engaged, employed, and be doing great things. So when they don't have any other option, but this is the only way they think they can actually vent their anger or something that can be a bridge between their frustration and whatever they are going through in this country. So it's a total leadership failure. And then it's unfortunate that APC kept, displaying this lack of capacity. Sometimes I wonder who are the managers of the president. Unfortunately, they told us he doesn't have good health. But the fact that you don't have good health does not mean you shouldn't have lieutenants around you that understand things.
You would put everything on the doorstep of the president?
No, I'm not saying that. But you can't take it away from him. You can't divorce it from him because everything stops on the table. There was the time he came back, he came up and was attacking the governors that they didn't do well in terms of security in their states. I disagree with that because the security agencies are directly under your control. The military, the police, everything is under your control. The state governor cannot order the GOC, for instance, in the state, or even commissioner of police. He has to go back to his Inspector General of Police. So what do? And that is why you see people, because of this, people say, no, let us readjust this country. People are now calling for state police. People are calling for devolution of power because economically we're not doing well. Security-wise, we're not doing well. Because if all these things have been properly addressed by the current leadership, all right, we won't have this agitation. Of course, there will be pockets, but it won't be as pronounced. It won't be going to this it won't get to this dangerous dimension we're having now.
Do you think there's a direct correlation between the underperformance, so to say, of the administration and why these agitations are becoming so pronounced to the point where Nigeria's integrity or unity is directly threatened?
Of course, people have bottled up most of these things. Okay, what's happening? Let's take, for instance, one of the reasons why Southeast is complaining so bitterly is because of the insensitivity shown by this government when it comes to appointments. All right? Look at how appointments were made. People, even some northerners don't even like it. Those who have conscience, they didn't really like it because that is not the Nigerian of our dream. We want to be united.
You subscribe to the idea that, his selection process, his choice of people to fit in certain positions,
everything is faulty.
Is lopsided.
Everything is, it's not just lopsided, it's faulty from day one. It took them how many months to bring in ministers and government appointees?
That was in 2015.
Yes, that's where this thing started from. Because when you have a faulty
you
foundation,
go as far back as 2015.
Yes, when you have a faulty foundation, this building, if the foundation was faulty, perhaps we'll be afraid of staying there because you'll be hearing vibration left and right. You'll be so scared because but the foundation was so faulty, it was not strong enough. That was what happened. And that is the difference between this government and PDP government. When Obasanjo was in power, what Obasanjo did was, let me liken it to a vehicle. He provided, in a vehicle, you need a very strong gear. Gear 1 to move the vehicle, all right? Then you progressively move to number 2, then you begin to gain balance and you smooth drive. That was what the government of Obasanjo Atiku did for this country. Coming from long time of military rule, they came on board and created that platform, that strength to put the country on a pedestal of smoothness. That's what they did. But unfortunately, and we make that progress, up till when this government came on board, this government have every reason to perform. Do you ask me why? Because no government has enjoyed the kind of, whether grassroots, whether elite support that this government enjoy in the history of this country.
So, Fabi, a lot of people will counter that argument by saying that one of the unfortunate hands that the Buhari administration was dealt was to manage an already bad situation. And they have time and time again reminded us that the 16 years of PDP's mismanagement of the Nigerian economy is what is responsible for the current state of affairs. That these are the consequences of the actions of the PDP administration.
How bad can it be? Right. Why do you come into government? Because you believe you can fix it. When there's a problem and you are brought into government to fix the situation, you told us you can fix it. And that's why you campaign to us that I'm going to fix A, B, C. I've understood your problem. I know why this. So what excuse are they giving? That means you don't even have the capacity in the first instance. So it's not a tenable excuse as far as Olademeji Fabiyi is concerned. And I know majority of Nigeria will not even agree with this. How long will you continue to give excuses about what your predecessor did? Why are you there? Why can't you fix it? They couldn't just fix it. That's the problem. They don't have the capacity to fix it.
And looking at the way the situation is being managed right now, I know with regards to the Boko Haram insurgency, you would say that a lot of gains have been made. But if you also take a look at the incidence of kidnapping, for instance, it is at a higher level than what was perhaps the case 4 or 5 years ago. Now it has become pretty much the order of the day right now for most state governments, especially in the north central and the northwest, and down here in the northeast too. Then there's banditry also to deal with. Then there's the unrest in the southern part of the country where the situation with herdsmen, and some of their host communities, those interactions have been very, very confrontational and violent, to say the least. The southern governors met recently and decided to unilaterally say that open grazing is no longer on the table. unilaterally we're banning it. We're going to use all the legal options available to us to make sure that it is not practiced in the southern part of the country. And then you have the Attorney General of the Federation counter that argument and say, well, constitutionally they can't do that because Nigerians have some sort of constitutional right to be wherever they can be, even liken it to banning spare part operators in the Northeast. That comment did not age particularly very well. But your position on the presidency or the Buhari administration's management of some of these socio-political, socio-economic issues, how it all, came to a head and where we are right now, what possibly you make of their handling going into the future, whether it could get better or worse?
Thank you very much. This government has been in power in the last 6 years. A 6 years child in modern day Nigeria will be perhaps in class primary 3 now. 6 years is a long time for you to know how to respond, to come up with workable plans for your citizens. And then one of the hallmark of this government is deceit. They have deceived Nigerians too many. See, when you fall short of certain expectation and you know that you need help, seek help where you can get it. Secondly,
when you say help, what are you talking about exactly?
In terms of security, they need help. They needed help. They're so arrogant they couldn't ask.
Are you talking international help?
Whether it's help, my brother, whether international or local. I remember a time here when Adamawa had a stint of insurgency. I think I read I read about the effort of the former vice president, bringing civilian joint task force and all that together, provided ammunition, light ammunitions and vehicles for them. That was help. They didn't ask for it, but the man has to do it for his state. Whether local or international help is help. So then the secondly is because of this arrogance in power. They don't believe anybody knows, whereas these people don't even know anything. And that's why I said earlier, I wonder those who are actually thinking for this government. Who are the handlers of the president? Okay, the proclamation of the southern governor on banning open grazing, you know what this has cost. Many lives have been lost because of that. And if the governor says, okay, we want to ban this, what stops the federal government from calling them to sit on the table and say, let's look at how we can make this work, a win-win situation for us. That proclamation is a golden opportunity for the north, for the northern part of Nigeria. Because when they ban open grazing, you'll have vast lands that you can turn into ranching and everything to stem all this tide. But it seems this government does not believe in peace, and they don't believe in unity. I stand to be corrected. If they believe that Nigeria should remain a united nation, a united country, I think at every point in time they have opportunity to respond to critical issues like this.
His response to the whole grazing situation and how it is no longer welcome in other parts of the country, including some parts of the north, is that his government will work hard to recover all these grazing routes that have been encroached upon.
Forgive me, it's in this modern day world. Why are we still, why are these governments, why are they taking us back to 170 years ago back? How do you do that? Most of these grazing routes, as they call it, go and check them, bring them up, and let's see what has happened to those routes. Some now, you see barracks there, you see schools, you see churches, you see mosques, you see estates. So it's unfortunately, it's absurd. It doesn't add up for someone like me. I've traveled all over the world. I know how these things are done, these things are managed. And I've always thought that my country will strive to do better. And unfortunately, this government is just taking us backward. I'm always tired of talking about them. I'm just hoping that in the next less than 24 months, they will leave. I wish Mr. President good health, and I hope his people, too, will leave Nigeria intact because the way they are going, if care is not taken, there may not be Nigeria before 2023.
Do you think it is that bad?
It is that serious. It is that bad. the moment you turn on your TV on daily basis, there was no single day you don't read news about death, killing, kidnap. An emir in Kajuru was kidnapped a few days ago with 13 members of his family, immediate family. Children, grandchildren, even up to toddlers. Does that make any sense? And these guys have no response to it. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, safe to say that that is a fair assessment of where we are right now. But when you look at the commentary, when you look at the rhetorics, it seems to some Nigerians that some people are happy with where we are right now because there's a political statement, there's a political point to be made. And it almost sounds ironical because I remember this particular question posed to then members of the opposition when Governor Nasir Rufai was leading the campaign, against the Goodluck administration, saying that if it's a political rhetoric, it's a political narrative, then all the government has to do, the Goodluck administration has to do, is to prove them wrong by getting rid of the situation so that they would not have any political statement to make against the government. When it comes to solidarity, when it comes to some sort of assistance, do you think that politically of the problem?
If I get you right, getting rid of the problem is working with the government to do that.
Right.
Quite a number of them, yes. Quite a number of them. You see them making public statements, advising the government on what and what should be done. I give credit to the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar because on a regular basis, he studies the situation, he looks at the situation from both analytical consideration, state of mind, economics, and all that, and then profile solutions. And if I can remember, there has never been any time that he has shied away from advising this government on what should be done to arrest the situation. And apart from, there are other eminent Nigerians in the south, in the east, even in the north, that believes in the sanctity and unity of this country. They have never stopped. And like I told you, this government believes they don't need help, whereas they needed one. This government is so arrogant that they will never. Let me give you an example. Look at how long it took Mr. President to relieve the immediate past service chief of their duty. Nigerians were talking until things almost got out of hand. Look at the National Assembly, for instance. The National Assembly is controlled by APC. If not, because I'm even happy that they move away from what people are calling them this time. They're able to stand on their own. I just read that Loretta Onoche
rejected her nomination.
We thank God. And I think they want to remove the veil of being a rubber stamp National Assembly. Because it was getting to a point that even those guys at the National Assembly were now making laws to satisfy the president, not the people. To satisfy themselves, not the people.
Does everything point back to the president in this case?
I'm talking about National Assembly members now. I'm not just, I've already told you that. Even I wonder those who are managing him. So all these people around them, today in Nigeria, we have a very dysfunctional policing system. Today in Nigeria, we have a very disjointed judiciary. If we have a president that is what is salt and onion, answers, responses will be provided to make sure that every sector, every part of our lives as a nation, it cannot do everything, but it would have done better.
But some would say it is obvious the judiciary now is enjoying financial autonomy, courtesy of the goodwill as well as the commitment of the Buhari administration. The same thing for the National Assembly. They're financially independent now, something they have not been able to attain for the longest time now. He's also extending the same thing to the local governments, trying to revive and reposition their role in the polity. Wouldn't you say that there's a lot of misses, but there's, of course, a lot of positives to point out?
Of course. I'll give it to them. But I think something would have taken care of all this before we got to this point. all these things were because of the uproar and the demands and agitation of the people. That if we want to develop, if we want to progress, you need to put all these things in place. We give it to them, they've been able to do it, and we'll see what follows. But the major thing that we expect them to do is to sit down and make sure that this country is reset. And I hope they'll be able to do that before the end of their tenure. Nigerians will speak in 2023, and I'm so sure they won't speak in their favor. I'm so sure they won't speak in their favor. People find it so difficult to eat these days. I received 20 messages, 18, 19 are requests for money. How much am I making? Where do I get it? The hardship, the hunger is so much in the land now. So the ones they have done well, we tell them they've done it very well. We thank them for giving them the judiciary, the local government autonomy. We thank them for doing that. But there's still more fundamental needs to be done, which is to reset the structure of this country. Right. Nigeria negotiated, the conversation about Nigeria was established initially to be a parliamentary-led country. That was, but between 1953 and 60, about 7 years, going up and down, back and front, we were able to get independence. And in the 1960s, when military came on board, everything scattered. Now, the irony of this is that at that time, even the northern part of the country does not even want, federal system. Right. But look at it now. Now, the southern states wanted unity, but now it's vice versa. Now, now the north does not want this, south does not want this. A responsible government must be able to find a way to harmonize all this. The former vice president talked about restructuring of this country. A lot of people didn't find it fun, especially from this part of the country. But I know that even under Buhari government, the north is worse hit. Because the southern part of the country has been able to organize themselves. And this was what Aziku saw. He said, you are not having a good bargain. You are not having a good bargain. And I read one of his write-up where he said, what stops us from, see, the conversation has always been about fiscal federalism. It has always been about political federalism. And fiscal federalism is just about what resources comes to me, how much of resources am I going to control. Political federalism is about, what power is coming to me. But what about finding a middle way, which is like a kind of development federalism? And this is what the man was talking about that time, where each of the zones will be identified with their greatest potentials and to be harnessed. You turn southeast that are so ingenious, that are so tech savvy, that are so strong when it comes to manufacturing. He place huge investment there.
Right.
Yes, investment there and turn them to like Taiwan of Africa. You look at Southwest where we have, what do you call it? Comparative advantage in marine, in manufacturing and all that. So you simply turn that place into like Singapore of Africa. You look at the entire north, agricultural powerhouse. You turn it to a food and agricultural hub of Africa. All these things, and you make them autonomously part of the center. So this is what he was trying to say at that, but nobody's listening. But now I'm happy that people are now talking about it. That is the way we need to go.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, restructuring is still an unanswered question as far as Nigeria is concerned. Which version of it will be applied at the end of the day is what many people don't know at this point. Because even recently, the Southwestern governors talked about adopting the regional system of government where the 6 geopolitical zones will now be the new order of the day. How that applies is what I still am yet to come to terms with.
Yes, they have to work on the process.
On the very idea. In a moment or so, we'll talk about their position and how the southern governors, I think 2 weeks ago, came together and said, power shift should definitely go to the south. Yes. And I want to hear what you have to say about this one and more. Okay. Join the conversation if you can via SMS. We'll be back in a moment to double down on what has already been discussed and also get into new talking points about what is currently ongoing in Nigeria with a view to perhaps understanding the complexity of some of these issues. We'll be back in a moment to further this conversation. Join us again. Right, welcome back to the program. We're back to continue the conversation, looking at the state of the nation. There's a lot to actually talk about. Nigeria's state of unity or disunity, if we're going to consider the agitations from different parts of the country and how those agitations are not necessarily aligned with one another, and how it could mean a breakup of Nigeria, even though the political elites have restated their commitment to a one united Nigeria. You get the feelers that Nigeria is not united. I mean, we can pretend as if it is united, but obviously the point is indicates that there's a lot of work that needs to be put in to ensure that unity is sustained in the near future. Join in the conversation if you can, weigh in. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are about some of these boiling issues around security, around politics, around the restructuring that has been advertised for the longest time, and how the APC administration under President Muhammadu Buhari has been foot dragging on what it hopes to achieve with some of the constitutional review that is currently undertaken across different parts of the country. We have been in conversation with Olademeji Fabiyi, the Director General, Amalgamated Atiku Support Group. Join us to analyze some of these issues. Now, just before the break, I did bring up the issue about the Southwestern governors. I mean, first and foremost, your take on the balkanization of some of these issues. Today is the Northern Governors Forum. Tomorrow is the Nigeria Governors Forum on maybe perhaps restructuring state policing. Tomorrow you hear Southeast governors on insecurity. Tomorrow you hear Northeast governors. And the positions, they vary from time to time. Your take on how people in power have fallen short of really coming up with actionable plans to mitigate some of these things that we've been talking about. Sincerely,
I must tell you that it's all about interest. And then off the camera, we just have a conversation now that if your brother is there, he can never do anything bad.
Right.
And it has never helped this country. When I listened to the proclamation of the Southern governor, and at first I felt disappointed. One, the reason being that should that have been taken up by the governors? Sometimes I wonder the problem with our elites in this country, whether they even think at all. And most especially those who are the helms of affairs of this country. When you say power must come to the south, number one, that line is not even helping anything. Without being told, I knew that statement was an agenda of the APC, not the agenda of the PDP. Now, let me tell you, when they talk like that, what do you expect the PDP governors in their fold to say? They have to play along. If not, they'll be rendered unpopular in the south. It's just like the northern governors hold a meeting there and come up and say the power must come to the north. They didn't bother any APC governor well and say it shouldn't happen. Right. Because they become unpopular immediately. So that matter is purely party matter. It's not for the governors. And I really want to sound a note of warning to all of these governors that they should be careful, because people will abandon them in 2003. It's getting to a point that people are seeing them as just jokers who are only fanning the embers of their own personal interest. They have to be careful. It's a note of warning to them. Nigeria has woken up now, and Nigeria has seen where this current leadership is taking us. So these governors must be very, very careful. They must try as much as possible to be on the side of the people. Or else in 2023, people will abandon them. They will give instruction, it will not happen. The people will not listen to them. People will take their destiny in their own hands. So as far as I know, that proclamation will not hold water. Because if PDP wakes up tomorrow and say, I'm zoning my presidency to the north, all these governors will fall in line now. I'm a southerner, all right? But if my party says it's going to the north, I will support what my party is saying because I'm a PDP member. So you can't run away from that. So we have to be realistic here. And everything we need to do, and this is to these leaders, they must put Nigerian unity at the forefront.
How critical is a decision like that to the conversation about Nigeria's unity, for instance? Because I remember someone talking about Nigeria turning into a turn-by-turn state, right, where we pass it around as if it's a birthright. You know, okay, now it's your turn, now it's my turn, let's take turns. I mean, that's not really how a democratic society, is supposed to evolve and grow, because it does directly hit at the heart of what democracy is all about, the will of the people. But of course, considerations like this are not alien in a democratic society. Your thoughts on whether this is a true reflection of what should actually happen come 2023?
Well, as far as I know, it's not a true reflection, but something is very, very important. Now, whether we like it or not, Nigeria is not stable as we speak. And only God knows how far this will go before the end of the tenure of this government in 2023. And I tell anybody who cares to listen that something is of priority, must be of priority to Nigerians now. How to stabilize this country. Because this country is not stable as we speak. That is number one. If the country is not stable, you can't achieve unity, you can't achieve progress, you can't achieve development in whatever terms you want to look at it. The country must be stable. And that is my message to Nigerians moving forward to 2023. We must consider stability first before anything. And if even our youth is a message to them, it's only when you have a country that you can be thinking of wants to take over power. It's only when you have a stable country you can be thinking of, I want to run for president, I want to run for this. But now, what we need to do as a solution to our problem, moving forward to 2023, is to ensure that we achieve that stability first. The current government has lost it, and that is the truth. They cannot stabilize this country with the way they are going. Because it's obvious after 6 years, they've not been able to do. Is it in the next 2 years they will do this? So we have to start.
You've given up already?
No, Nigerians have. It's only Nigerians have already given up. Go, I have opportunity.
There's no chance that they can turn things around?
In the next 2 years, what are they going to turn around? What? That you've not done in the last... the weekend will be fine. Isn't it Friday that you know? 6 years down the line, down the drain. What is the economic state of Nigeria right now in the last 6 years?
I mean, you could bring in the pandemic. The pandemic is a huge game changer
so other
for the global economy.
Other countries of the world, how are they responding to it? Are they making up for it? Responsible government take big action, big steps, you know, to ameliorate situation when situations are that bad. And these guys are not doing it. Every day we keep borrowing. They find it so difficult to look inward and see how we can juggle up and stabilize. So like I was saying, stability is key. Our youth must realize that I am not saying we shouldn't fight, we shouldn't struggle to be in position of leadership. But we must consider stability first. And that is why we have to in 2023. And this is to the entire Nigerians. If we want to get it right, 2023 is another opportunity for us to do this. We must look for that person, individual, that southeast, south-south, northwest, northeast, north central, the entire country will be so comfortable with at its emergence. If we don't have that, there's going to be a problem.
Do you think we have individuals like that? I mean, I know that you have a go-to answer.
We have, now Nigerians know.
Right.
Go around the entire country now, listen to what people are saying. They know, so is that man we should look for now? And God, thanks to God, we have one. And we are from this zone. He's the son of this zone.
So some will say we have many of them. Many of them on the table.
So, but I know one that we have in this country that have demonstrated capacity, that have demonstrated sagacity, that has demonstrated all you need, the quality you need in a leader.
Right. Okay. So
he's a unifier. He doesn't he doesn't take care of all this. He doesn't like it.
Right.
So he's not tribalistic, and that is the kind of person we must try as much as possible to look for that will stabilize Nigeria. That South will say is emergency, we are okay with it. We can give it a chance.
Yeah. So you have a lot of people who are very unconditional about some of these things, right? And then you have some people who are very conditional, pretty much black and white about it. It is either this or this, right? In certain clear terms, it is just this is what we want. We're not going to settle for anything less. In a situation where you can understand that political atmosphere is at a fever point, so to say, right? With regards to what decisions may likely be taken in the near future. The APC is pretty much tilted towards this direction, that there's every possibility that the presidency could go to the south. It could be the southwest, it could be the southeast. It's pretty difficult to tell at this moment, because we understand that there's some sort of arrangement, and it is only fair if the party had presented a northern candidate for the past 8 years, that it looks elsewhere, right, in the interest of fairness as well as inclusiveness. However, that is not going to be likely the decisions of Nigerians, because APC can propose, PDP can propose, and then Nigerians will decide in 2023. My question is, how much of the current agitations will determine what Nigerians will accept or not accept in 2023, in terms of what these two political parties are able to present?
Well, just like you said, it has to do with what the political party feels is right. I wouldn't want to talk about APC, and the simple reason is that they have their problem cut out for them. Right now, they couldn't even hold congresses. That's the beginning. They couldn't even pick dates for convention, which they should have done. And it's their problem. If they like, let them pick their candidate.
The party seems to be a very popular party right now.
Where?
You have
APC is popular.
You have PDP governors jumping ship.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Wait. APC is popular where? In Adamawa?
I mean, across the country.
They are popular. They are not, well, they are not popular in Southwest. They are not popular in, where I come from. I don't know whether they are popular here. Right. They are not popular.
They do have the majority of the governors in the Southwest.
See, right. That has gone now. People are taking their destiny in their own hands now. It's not about what, government is just one man.
You would say that they have made a lot of inroads in the South, where they had no single governor 4 years ago.
Which inroad?
I mean, you have Imo State now. You have the governor in Ben Ayade in Cross River. You also have Ebonyi State, I believe.
And you think that will determine what happens in 2023?
I mean, I'm saying it's an indication of something.
As far as we know, I'm a PDP member, and I'm a proud one for that matter. As far as we know, it doesn't hold water for us, because we have our game plan. I was telling you something. Whether APC likes it, let them pick their candidate from the north, let them pick from the south. It has consequences, and we wait to see how they will go. But for my party, let me tell you, we want to win election, and we want to win election as a party. You must adopt strategies that will make you win election. If today my party says candidate must come from the north, I will jump at it, because we want to win election. We are not APC, and APC will not define what PDP will do. All right? We have over 10 governors across the country. Let me tell you, see what is happening in Zamfara. If care is not taken, Matawali will lose that seat, because that was a stolen mandate of the PDP, and I'm sure judiciary will do justice to that.
There is an ongoing case on that matter.
Well, so I just told you, this is my personal opinion, because I've seen it, I've seen where it's coming from. You know, a lot of people that are living, how can you jump into a sinking ship? Does it make any sense?
Well,
APC is a sinking party.
That's where the answer is. The answer is in the question.
No, so
maybe they're jumping into a better ship.
Into a sinking ship. The Nigerians are done with APC. And you will see
it does not appear so. It does not appear so.
You think so, but when the election comes, you will see. Here is a party that has returned hunger in greater dimension to the people. And you are saying, you will see in 2023.
Not I am saying. I'm only judging the actions of these governors.
Let the governors go. We don't care whether they go. It doesn't.
Yeah, but the governor
left.
The governor of River State, said this. Like, he anticipates that more governors will leave, and he says that it's time for the PDP
go and let us know the numbers that are remaining
to get its acts together. Do you think this is a wake-up call for PDP to get its acts together?
Of course, you have to. As the party, you must rise up. You must wake up. If your house is leaking, if your roof is leaking, you must wake up and feel it, because when it starts raining, you won't be able to sleep. And I know the leadership of the party would do what is necessary moving towards 2023. Right.
Right, okay. So let's get some outside perspective. We're running out of time. This one says, good afternoon. I'm Emmanuel from Jamaica. I really commend the outspoken and sincere guests you have in the studio. Do you think the youths are feeling the impact of this government? Do you have a short answer for that?
Youths are not feeling it now. See us, see them now. Let me tell you, in those days,
right,
in those days in the north, I will come that, there was no redundancy, there's no dropout in schools. After common entrance, when you write your exams, you have a place where the first set go, the second set to go, you go to colleges, the best colleges. If you are the third grader, you go to technical colleges, craft school, and all that. No dropout. But today, look at our streets all over the country.
Okay. This one without a name says, since the coming of Mr. President from his appointment of the ministers, there's been a lot of failure, just to put it nicely. Let's take a look at this one very quickly. Every region, it says, with respect to intellectual capacity, should be given fair play and chance to contest and lead this country. We should stop receiving or deceiving ourselves, I think is what I'm trying to say, until we elect our leaders based on merit, not religious inclination, sentiment, ethnic background. I have never done that and will never do so. I would love to have seen the name attached to this SMS. Sonex from Bajabura says, President Muhammadu Buhari's government has succeeded in deceiving Nigerians with its campaign promises. You got to one of our viewers using that word, deceiving Nigerians.
That is it. No respect for rule of law.
Where is the 10 million jobs or job opportunities? Where is the fuel pump price below 50 now? Boko Haram have metamorphosed into many forms of criminalities. Corruption in this country is the order of the day. Buhari shed tears to correct wrongs. In opposite, or the situation is worsening. I suppose that's what Sonex is trying to say. Let's take a look at this one. Finally, the guest has nailed it all. He says that the APC has failed Nigerians. It's left for Nigerians to elect good leaders in 2023. Good afternoon. Your analysis on the state of the issues of Nigeria, politically, economically, and otherwise, is obvious and absolutely correct. Jonah Tuara from Damari in Yola Town. Many thanks to all of you. Unfortunately, I can't go through all of the messages because we are out of time. Fabi, your final thoughts about what comes next and how best we can manage the situation. I know you have you're more than disappointed in the performance of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, but if you were to give an assessment about how best a prognosis or suggestion about how to manage the situation as things stand right now, so Nigeria can stick together before the 2023 elections, what would you say?
They should try as much as possible. Thank you. They should try as much as possible to seek help when they needed one, or where they need one. And most fundamentally, they should be honest with Nigerians. When you know you have problems, then Nigeria knows that the moment you identify your problem is not solved.
You mean they should show their weaknesses?
It's not about showing weakness. It's about being honest with the people you swore an oath to govern, to lead. Your people are crying. They are dying every day. And I have a message for my party. I'm a Southerner, and I've been a PD member since 1999, all right? If the leadership of the party in the Northeast is listening to me today, whatever they need to do, PDP must ensure that their presidency is taken from the North. My own opinion. It's nobody's opinion.
Okay.
They must pick their candidates from the North. As a matter of fact, from the Northeast, because Northeast has equally been changed like every other zone across the country.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, he doesn't need to say who he's actually going to recommend, but I think it's very obvious for all to hear and for all to see. Fabiyi, as always, good talking to you. Thank you very much for coming this afternoon. Appreciate the analysis.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much.
That is our show for today, one and all. Let's do this again. We'll be back tomorrow live at 2 p.m. Feel free to join us. Make an appointment live and exclusive on TV Hotel. Until then, it's goodbye for now. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.